In today's video, I'm giving a huge update on my new 135-gallon custom aquarium. I'm going to be unboxing some new fish, installing some new equipment when it comes to lighting and my filtration. I'm going to be doing my first water change on this tank, and in general just giving a full update on this tank since we set it up a few weeks back. Excited to show you all the updates, so let's dive right in. So we're going to be talking about my brand new custom aquarium, which is about a 135-gallon tank with a 50-gallon seamless sump from Custom Aquariums. We set this tank up a few weeks ago. We added the different peacocks and haps, which are all Lake Malawi African cichlids. I'll leave a link down in the description to a full setup video we did on this tank a few weeks back. And as mentioned in that video, there's still a few things I wanted to install on this tank and a few new fish I wanted to add. So we're going to do all of that today. We're going to show the complete product towards the end of the video. We're even going to add the fish to the tank towards the end. So this is a sneak peek of the tank and how it looks today as the lights are just starting to ramp up for the day. But let's go ahead and jump back to the original unboxing of the new fish.
Meanwhile,
I am very excited to unbox these new fish from Imperial Tropicals. There are a few fish in this package that I've been wanting for a very long time, but I wanted to make sure the new custom aquarium was set up and ready to go before I got some of these fish. I'm not exactly sure which video this unboxing is going to go within, as I have so many different projects going on at once in my basement. I've been moving things around my fish room. Discus tank mates for my 90-gallon are currently in the mix. But once I get these guys unboxed and quarantined, you'll probably see them go into the new tank all in this video. So let's go ahead and check out what we got. Got a heat pack, still warm. This was shipped overnight. Alright. I'm going to start with a couple of the smaller fish and then work our way up here. The first is we have two deep water haps. This is the only fish that didn't have confirmed males, but I really wanted a deep water hap, so I got two, hoping that at least one would be a male. So these two might grow out a little bit longer in my fish room before making it into the big display tank. And as mentioned, I got two of them and both seem to be doing really well. They're about 2 inches in size, so they definitely have a lot of room to grow. Next up is I have a red ruby peacock. This is about 2 to 3 inches. And it will provide some really nice red coloration in the tank. I do have a good looking dragon blood that provides that pinkish red color, but I wanted a little bit more of that, so I went with a ruby red peacock. Okay, so next up we have a 3 to 4 inch male otter point jake. This is a good looking peacock cichlid that has some orangish yellow coloration, a little bit of blue even. I really like the look of these guys, and I think it will fit in really nicely with the rest of the peacocks. This guy's a pretty good size, so it'll definitely go into the display tank relatively soon. So next up we have a 2 to 3 inch male OB cichlid. This is a Cyanochromis Ali. This is actually a hap, not a peacock, but will play nicely with a lot of the peacocks and haps that I currently have. It has a really unique color pattern, and I really like OBs, so this will be the second OB that I have in my tank. So we got two left, and these are the biggest in the package. The first one here is a 3 to 4 inch male Eastern hap. This guy really struck my eye on the website, has some cool yellow coloration and pattern to him, which is a little more unique when it comes to some of your peacocks and haps, so I'm really excited to have this guy. So last but certainly not least is a bucket list fish for me. This is one I definitely needed to get if I was going to have a peacock and hap tank, and that is the Star Sapphire Cichlid. And this guy is a really good size. He's all of 4 inches right now, already has some great blue color. They get some white chipping along their body once they grow. But I just really like the look of these guys and the pattern in their body when they're adults. They're just beautiful fish and one I'm very excited to finally have. I'm going to go ahead and get them floating into their quarantine tanks, and we'll likely flash forward a few weeks once they're getting put into the new custom aquarium.
several days later.
So in the previous video I talked about my new aqua illumination light, which I love on this tank, but the light mounts themselves wouldn't fit over the custom aquarium's aluminum frame. So I decided to try out something a little different and ordered a few different lift mounts. I definitely think the AI blade looks better as it's mounted just a little bit off the tank rather than sitting flush on the lids. But because this is one of the longer lights at 66 inches, there is a very small flex in the middle. And after talking to Aqua Illumination, they did say this isn't totally recommended for any lights that are longer than 44 inches. But they also said it won't cause any harm to the light or issues down the line. And as long as you don't mind that tiny flex, I think it's a pretty good option. I still think it looks better than sitting flush on the lids. Aqua Illumination did say that they're going to be looking into a customized mounting option for me with this custom aquarium. This is a very specific issue to custom aquariums because they have that aluminum bracing around the edge of the tank. It's another reason why this tank is so durable and has a lifetime warranty, is just having that very thick aluminum bracing. But if I do find some better mounting options for this AI blade, I will share it on the next update on this tank. But the next piece of equipment that I want to install is the Clearwater algae scrubber, which is one of the most exciting parts of this new tank build. So let's get into that now. So this is an algae turf scrubber from Clearwater Scrubbers. I'm very excited to finally put this together and put it on top of my sump here. The Clearwater scrubber is a great design. It's basically an acrylic box that has a netting that sits in the middle. You'll have a pump connected to it to continuously drip water down this netting. There are two 10-watt lights which will start to grow algae on this netting. And eventually when that algae has grown in, it will start pulling out nitrates in your aquarium very effectively. The setup and plumbing was pretty straightforward. I basically just need a 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe to be on the bottom for the drain, which will go directly down into the reservoir of my sump. And then I needed a 1/2 inch flexible tubing which connected to the intake of the Clearwater scrubber, and the other one will go down into the new pump that I have from Cichlid. One reason I did go with a taller 36 inch stand is that I did want to be able to fit this Clearwater scrubber on top of my sump without hitting the bottom of the tank, and that 36 inches provides plenty of space under the tank. So one of the recommended pumps to go with the Clearwater scrubber is the Cichlid STC 3.0, which is a smaller pump than what I have for my actual return pump in my sump, but it will go in that same return pump chamber, but it will be pushing water to the Clearwater scrubber instead of up to the tank. I also love having another Cichlid pump because I can control all of them within the same Cichlid app. I can see my wave maker and pump on my 150 up at the top. I can see my 3 different pumps now for my 135, which includes the wave maker, the return pump, and the Clearwater scrubber pump. It's also very nice to be able to control the power and strength of each of these pumps just through the app, as I did need to tune it a bit just to fit into the scrubber and not have the reservoir fill up faster than the return pump. With the setup I'm going with the scrubber being over the reservoir unit, water would be filling up in the reservoir a little bit faster than the return pump, so I needed to make sure I turned that down just a bit so that the continuous flow back into the return pump from the reservoir would be even, so that there was never too much filling up in the reservoir or eventually overflowing. I could have put the pump and the scrubber both into the reservoir unit, but I did like the idea of having them a little more separate so that there's a little more flow between each of these different modular units.
Thanks for all the help, buddy.
So this is the Clearwater scrubber installed now. It looks great, it's very quiet, and it's working really well. I can't wait to see the algae start to grow on that middle netting. The lights give off a little bit of a white pink under the sump, but they do have these light blockers that you can put on that come with the unit. So you may be wondering what this algae scrubber is going to do for this aquarium, and I'm very excited to show some of the results down the line. But essentially, the Clearwater scrubber will grow algae, which will consume nitrates in the tank just like any normal live plants or other algae in your tank. In a big planted aquarium, for instance, you may have less nitrates in your tank over time because the plants help convert that. In an African cichlid tank like I have here, where live plants really aren't an option, this is another really great way to pull out nitrates in your tank and be way more efficient when it comes to keeping nitrates low and having to do way less water changes on your aquarium. Clearwater scrubbers are really popular in the saltwater hobby because doing water changes are even more of a pain because you have to mix salt, and it can be much more expensive to keep up with those water changes. But in the right cichlid tank setup like I have here, where I can't really have live plants or maybe have fake plants, an algae scrubber would be a very efficient way to pull out nitrates and hopefully reduce your water changes significantly. In an overstocked cichlid tank like this, I would typically be doing anywhere from 50 to 70% water changes weekly. But with the Clearwater scrubber, I'm hoping that I can reduce that to maybe only once or twice per month, or even less. I'm just going to continuously be testing the nitrate levels in this tank and seeing how this algae is growing within the scrubber. And I do have to mention that this filtration should be seen as an investment because it is not cheap. This size scrubber, I believe, was around $600, and you also have to pay for a pump. I do look at it as an investment. It is a big upfront cost, but eventually it will pay for itself over time if you have your tank running for a year or two, not only saving money on water, but energy, and just my overall time. Because if I'm doing 4, 5, 6 more water changes a month, that could be upwards of 5+ hours a month, times 12 for the year. So I'm really looking forward to the algae scrubber keeping my nitrates low and the fish looking happy and healthy, saving me time, energy, and of course money on my water bill over time to probably pay for itself in a year or two. But more importantly, I always like trying out new things, new advancements in the hobby, and sharing it on the channel so that you can see if it's something you would want for yourself. I'll be showing a lot of updates on this scrubber over time and trying to measure exactly how much time and money it does save me over the long haul. So now that we got this Clearwater scrubber installed, let's do a quick water change, get the tank looking great, and then add in the new fish.
later.
So I hope you enjoyed seeing all the updates on the new tank. The new fish are doing great. The new equipment is running smoothly. Can't wait to show more of this tank on the channel over time, as well as the rest of my fish room down here. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.